I'm Mr. Gigabytes, and this is the Gigsplained Podcast. With me, as always, is my sidekick Serenity.
Hello.
So, what did we do today? We went to one of my longtime customers' house, and they had a problem where some pipe broke in a room where their camera system was, and their camera system went down. Now, I'm thinking the worst. I'm thinking like I'm going to need to replace a DVR, and I'm going to need to replace the power supply for the cameras and the networking equipment and all that, because that's all in that room. But we get there and everything's running, but we don't have any cameras. And so I'm like, that's weird. I mean, even the monitor that sits on top of it's not mounted on the wall. It just kind of sits on top of a pressure tank. So I'm just a little confused. I start tracking things down. We don't have any cameras at all. We have one camera that's an analog camera that's directly connected to the DVR that's transmitting a black picture. So I knew that camera was kaput. The other cameras the other 8 cameras were just not. They were all offline. It looked like they were offline. Well, the network had changed. So what actually took the camera system out wasn't the pipe breaking. It was actually a change in their network. They had some work done. This is where it annoys me so much, because you could be the IT person for a particular company or for a particular individual, and what happens is they start having internet problems. Well, internet is the domain of their ISP. They had put in all new networking equipment. They did a really good job, because I've had to do this before. When they've come in, they've actually screwed up the wireless network, and I've had to redo all of the wireless stuff, make it align with what they had before, so like their phones and their tablets and everything else would work properly. Well, that's what happened this time. However, at least they made the wireless the same, but they didn't go far enough and make sure that the IP addresses were the same from the old network to the new, which screwed up all of the DVR equipment, all of the cameras. It ended up being a more complicated problem than if the water would have just soaked the DVR and blown it up. To be perfectly honest with you, we wouldn't have spent nearly as much time there. But by the time, I got all the cameras up right away, and going in expecting one thing and encountering something else that you weren't really prepared for, that was kind of, it was draining. Today, we're going to kind of continue the conversation we had last week about YouTube. Now, I know I sort of went on a rant last time, the last time, about YouTube and some of the problems that creators encounter, but the reality is that YouTube is a fantastic platform. It is not, just one giant problem. There are problems with the platform. I do have some complaints about it, but the reality is YouTube does a fantastic job of curating long-form videos for people. Now, I kind of wonder what sort of content people watch online. I know what I watch, but I'm a weird guy.
So am I. I'm also weird.
You're weird? So what exactly do you watch on, what sort of things do you enjoy watching on YouTube? Because I know you've watched shorts, and I absolutely hate shorts.
I now limit my short in how much shorts I watch. There is this one channel that does shorts that informs me on different horror games that are free. So I kind of want to check those out, but I forgot the name of his channel. But I also do watch horror stuff. Ooh, and then Crypt TV is my favorite, but I do not recommend it to anyone who gets scared easily, because it can get scary at times, but it's not that bad to me. Then I mostly listen to music on YouTube, even though I have a YouTube music app, but there's certain things that you can't really listen to on YouTube Music because it's kind of like videos according to YouTube Music. So And then there's like occasionally like gotcha videos. I'm a weird one because I grew up with a certain app called Gotcha Life and Gotcha Club. They're fun apps, really, but like sometimes the content can't really be that child friendly, and that's what scares me about humanity sometimes.
Well, that might be a discussion for another video or another podcast about some of the games and some of the dangers and whatnot. But the issue, what I have, what my issue is like, okay, I've said this before on a video. I've said that my content that on this channel does not lend itself well to the short format. Everything that I do, it's I've got to I have to explain because it's complicated and there's steps involved and that type of thing. I can't just. It's not like one of the few shorts that I actually watch is the Red Hot Cobalt Ball. And I keep catching myself watching those videos because I used to watch them on YouTube. All it is this I think the channel might be Florida Foundry or RHCB or something like that. I don't know. Remember what it was on YouTube. There are the shorts on Facebook pop up, and Red Hot Cobalt Ball keeps popping up, and I like, okay, let's watch this one real quick. Let's take 30 seconds and watch him drop a hot ball on a bottle of Pepsi or something. Watch it blow up.
Yeah.
You know, it's just kind of cathartic. But my issue is like with the shorts and TikTok and all of these short form videos, you're so constrained by the time limit that you're allowed to put on your videos that you can't really curate good content. Now, to be fair to the people that really enjoy short form videos, I realize that there is a lot of these YouTubers, you know, sometimes you go to YouTube to learn how to do something. The guy starts talking and talking and talking and talking and talking. When are you going to get to the thing where you fix it?
Oh my gosh, that's so true though.
It drives me nuts, and I'm a very patient person. And then it's some stupid little fix that they didn't even show everything. I rant about this a little bit in where I show how to fix a BlackBerry Key 1 battery, and there's a shortcut to fixing that. Yeah, normally what you would have to do on a BlackBerry Key 1, you have to take this little strip off the top. You have to find the two little screws. You pull the two little screws out. You pop the top off, and then you pop the back off. That's normally how you would do it. But there was a shortcut that I showed in the video where you can, as long as you're real careful, you can rock that back off once you get it to a certain point. You pop the little clips and you rock the back off, and you get it off of the camera lens. And I've replaced my battery 3 times using that method. And I'm still using the original back and everything. I've just recently for my BlackBerry, because it's the thing that I film. It's not the thing, but it's one of the main cameras that I have, and I film all of my talking head type stuff with it. And I recently replaced the front camera. I replaced the top part of the BlackBerry because the protective glass had fallen out of mine. Because the protective glass fell out, the lens of the camera kept getting fuzzier and fuzzier and fuzzier and fuzzier, and I hated it. So I bought a junk BlackBerry Key 1 for cheap, for I think it was $50. And I took the parts off of that and I replaced the camera, I replaced the top part, I replaced the top part contained the glass, and I have a fully functioning BlackBerry Key 1 where the camera, the front facing camera, looks good again. So I kind of wish I would have filmed that, but it was a lot of trial and error. I mean, at one point I had the entire circuit board out of the BlackBerry. I just because I just removed all the screws all over to try and figure out where things went and how things connected and whatnot. But I never made a video of it. I watch videos. If I'm not watching a video and learning something, that video is pointless to me. I very rarely watch videos for entertainment. That's what TV's for. So I watch things like I watch Drive Tribe, I watch TFL, and they have like 8 channels worth of content. I'm kind of impressed. I can't even maintain 4 channels, so kudos to them. They do a really good job reviewing cars and trucks and doing some neat stuff. Because I subscribe to a bunch of channels. So Aging Wheels. Some of you might be familiar with that. Adam Conover, Anders Enger Jensen. He does digital sort of music type things. He doesn't post a lot, but it's really cool. Fortnine, that one's a really popular channel. Jared Hawley, he does a cappella music, and it's this kind of the segmented where he splits it. He does each of the parts of the music, and then it's all split up like Brady Bunch style into different squares in the video, and I think that's really neat. Nova, NPR, Particle Men, which is the They Might Be Giants, that's music again. LGR, Jan Bita, the 8-Bit Guy. And all of these guys are there. It's all technology connections too. This is all stuff that I learn things off of. You know, it's not just entertainment. I always learn something new every time they post a video, and I love that. That is why I like YouTube so much. That's why I'm not on TikTok, because I can't stand TikTok. It's a lot of garbage, false stuff, more false stuff. Every once in a while you get something that's really neat that you might learn something on, but all that short form video just doesn't work for me.
I'm actually on TikTok actually updated it so you can make like 10-minute videos now.
Ooh, 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Whoa. 10 minutes. When you look at my channel, most of my, with a few exceptions, most of mine are 15 minutes or more. They tend to go into the 20-minute mark. My goal for the videos on the channel, if I can't fit it into a half-hour sitcom time slot, then it's too long. But 10 minutes is too short. Yeah. I'm obviously not doing it's either a simple job, it's either a simple video, or I'm just not covering what I should be covering. I'm not doing a good enough job. But then, and then I shoot everything horizontally, so it fits the YouTube format. Well, when you're doing shorts, you're shooting everything vertically.
In TikTok, you can like click on the video and then it'll like full screen.
Yeah, but it's still vertical, right?
No, like if it's like a one that's like this,
mm-hmm.
You can like it's like you're holding it like.
If it's vertical,
yeah,
if it's horizontal,
yeah,
you can click.
You can click the video when you're holding your phone like vertical, and then it'll like switch to like horizontal, and then you can view it like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I learned that out recently.
See, I didn't think TikTok you could do that, but regardless, it's still short form video, and that's my point. TikTok is neither here nor there. The only reason we bring up TikTok is because YouTube Shorts, and YouTube Shorts actually started when Vine was a thing. Oh, Vine's no longer a thing anymore.
I still watch those. They're still going on.
You still watch Vine?
Yeah. Like, they're funny. I like them.
I didn't even know they were still around.
Yeah. There's like a whole bunch of people doing Vines. I watch one because they have like...
Because aren't they like 7 seconds or something?
Not the one that I'm watching, because it's like it goes on for like a minute to two.
Okay.
Because it's like from TikTok, but it's on YouTube, and it's all put together. From this one person, I forgot the name, but they're like really relatable, and they're also violent sometimes.
They're also violent sometimes.
Yeah, it's like at the end of the video, either someone gets into a fight, but it's like only one person is like cut in between, and like and the person like pulls off the other person's wig, or or like he's like, you know what, go to the office. You know what, I'm going home. How about that? Like it's like that. If you guys know what I'm talking about, good for you.
Well, if anybody listening wants to comment about what sorts of things that they watch on YouTube, you can put that in the comments. That'd be all right. It'd be interesting to see how different people watch YouTube and things like that.
Yeah.
I mean, do you just watch the shorts, or do you watch long form video? I've teased my audience about how, like, one of the last videos I did, I think 3 videos ago or something like that, I reviewed the McDonald's, the Chinese chicken nugget from McDonald's that were in Happy Meal toys. McDonald's finally got got into the Chinese market. And one of the first things they did, they had this chicken nugget that played Tetris. It's a video. You can go watch it. It was kind of tongue in cheek and really simple to do. I released it on April Fool's Day, and the title was, "How much silicon is in a chicken nugget? Is it enough to play Tetris?" Because chicken nuggets have been accused of all kinds of stuff, and I mentioned that in the video. But in the very next video, I did a contest. But I didn't put the contest in the middle of the video. I put the contest after the credits rolled. And I said, hey, you made it to the end of the video. Here's your reward. And I kind of jokingly, I ribbed the audience about, hey, are you watching? Are YouTubers, YouTube people watching YouTube like Christians read the Bible, that type of thing. But I did this contest. Only 2 people actually entered the contest, and I'm not even sure if the guy who won actually went to the end of the watched to the end either. I'm not 100% sure, because he commented on the video, and his was the best comment. That's really all you really needed to do, is make a comment on the video, and the best comment wins. Well, only 2 people made comments, and one of them I didn't understand, so the second guy won the contest, and I'm not even sure if he knew he entered it. So. It's one of those things, but like I said, it's people jump around on videos. Oh, this is a boring part. I'm just going to jump ahead. Well, or the credits are rolling. I'm not gonna watch to the end. I put Easter eggs on the end of the video. I put bloopers and outtakes and things that might be funny, and I put them at the end of the video. Almost you watch the curve, people watch, and then all of a sudden the credits roll, and then it drops to nothing. And I wonder if anybody has ever seen any of that. So I tease the audience a little bit about it. I understand, your time is money, time is precious, time is valuable, and you don't want to waste too much time on a video or what have you, just because, and you want to get to the content that you're trying to watch it for, and I get that, and I try to when I'm doing videos, I try to respect the audience in that way. So I don't want to do a lot of talking. I don't want to do a lot of explaining just I don't want to do a lot of telling. I want to actually show, because that's what you're here for. You're here for the main attraction. The other thing is I haven't really put ads into any of the content that I do. I mean, I'm going to insert some kind of pseudo ads into some of my content, but it's all my property that I'm putting ads in. So if I do an ad for Gigabytes Technology, well, that's who this channel is about. That's who puts this channel on. And or Gigabooks Press, I've done one of those. Just a simple one right at the beginning of one of the videos. And it's just to make people aware of some of the other things that I do. Now, before I forget, speaking of Gigabooks Press, I have had a few people ask me about how my novel is going. And yet a lot of people may not know that last year, in February, I wrote a couple of... Well, in February last year, I wrote a book... Okay, let me start again. Let's try that again. Because I wrote, edited, sent it out to beta readers, and published a small writing guide in 7 days. Now, it's not The Great Gatsby, right? It's not the great American novel. It's just a little writing guide, but I've done that for many years. I've done little guides for customers for many years. So I'm very familiar with the format, very familiar with what needs to go into it. Trying to make it entertaining, at least a little bit, so people remember what they're reading. So it wasn't that big of a deal for me to get it out, but the addition of publishing it, because usually what I do is I on those guides I put it on a website, but in this case I actually had to sign up for Amazon and become a publisher and da. But I did all of that in 7 days, and in the middle of the 7 days I started Gigabooks Press. I filed all the paperwork, and I did that type of thing. So I filed it so that it's Gigabytes Technology is the parent company of Gigabooks Press. So if you want to get in the weeds, but anyway, I'm sort of going off track. I do that a lot.
Yeah.
Some rambling. But what people have asked me, because last year I also started writing a novel. And not only did I start writing a novel last year, I finished it. I wrote the whole thing. And in the middle there was I had a data loss event, despite having a backup plan and despite being, fairly tech savvy. It happens to people. I was dumb, and I was taking apart a laptop, and I forgot to pull the memory card, and it broke the memory card in half. And it's like, and I hadn't quite backed that up yet. It was only just the latest. I don't know. It was only a few pages, but they were really good pages, I thought. And to try and recreate that was a struggle, but I did. I managed to write it, and I finished it. And then I gave it to beta readers, and they kind of went, this kind of sucks. and I'm like, well, here's the thing. I can send it to an editor and pay them to tell me it sucks. Or I can listen to my beta readers and take what they're saying seriously. And they gave me really good feedback. One of them gave me kind of, I don't know, it was like they were afraid to tell me that it sucked. Another one, I gave very specific instructions to say, if it sucks, tell me. And boy, did he tell me. He told me it sucked out loud. Like, it was no good. He basically liked the story part, but there was not enough detail to keep him interested. It didn't keep him engaged, and that was really, really good feedback. I know he skipped over parts, but I think that was from boredom. So he read that book like YouTubers watch videos. You know, they jump around and they don't watch the whole thing. I kid, but even still, what the parts he read, it was dead on. I asked him specifically if it was engaging, and he said no. And the reality is the first half of the book, the first 35,000 words, was a heavy lift, because all it was really doing was accounting for the main character's crime or his sins. And it really wasn't. There was so much more. I realized after rereading it, I realized that this whole first section could be, if you added more detail to it, could be a book all by itself. It was not. There just wasn't enough detail there. So what's going to happen with the novel is the first half and the second half, which were supposed to go together as one novel, are going to be broken up, and then we're going to add a bunch of detail to it. Add some intrigue to the first part, add some mystery, add some kind of spiritualism, something that's really interesting, and not quite be such a dry accounting and a dry telling of the story. The second half was really interesting, but I felt, as an author, I felt constrained to try and fit it into the second half of the second half of the book. So, again, there's a lot more that can be developed there. So I had an editor. I asked an editor, friend of mine, who said, I said, are something to the effect of, because they say she's always cutting down a book to try and make it more succinct, because authors tend to overwrite their books. And I asked her if it was possible to underwrite the book or a book, and they said yes, but it's usually because an author doesn't know exactly what they want to say, which I found interesting. And now that we've gone on to this tangent again, I am still planning on publishing the novel, but instead of being a 2-book series, it's going to be a 3-book series, and there will be an announcement on it for people who subscribe to the Gigabooks Press Facebook. There will be an announcement there. There will be this is kind of an explainer of what's going on. So there will be my friend Roar helped design. Actually, he painted the painting that I used for the cover of the book. I'm still going to use that. I'm still going to use his drawings for that first book, but I'm changing. But it's going to be it's going to be renamed, and I'll make that announcement soon. So just stay tuned. Anyway, back on to YouTube. Maybe this was supposed to be about YouTube, and
yeah.
we're kind of gone through the tailpipe to check the carburetor. But I don't watch YouTube for entertainment. Being educated for me is entertaining. If the entertainment is the icing on the cake, I'm not looking to YouTube for an escape. I want to know things. I want to learn things. And problem is, like your grandfather,
Yeah.
my dad, he watches YouTube a lot too.
Oh, he does?
He does. And he watches a lot of conservative talking heads, conservative podcasts, I guess. I would actually, and I know this is picking on the biggest guy in the playground here, but he listens to Joe Rogan, and Joe Rogan is an entertainer. And he's not, I get that he has a big following, and I don't want to, again, I don't begrudge the man his success. He's built a following, he's done a good job. The problem with Joe Rogan is that he has these conspiracy nuts on that, and that basically are telling him this is the way things are, and this is how this goes. And one person of note is Robert F. Kennedy, and he's a vaccine conspiracist. Now, don't at me, but because it's just a fact. Joe Rogan is not qualified enough to push back fully on these conspiracy theories. Kyle Hill did sort of an expose on this Joe Rogan podcast about this actor that thought he could improve physics. And one of his things was 1 × 1 = 2. And it's like, you don't understand basic multiplication. How are you going to improve physics?
Exactly.
I mean, that doesn't make any sense. And Kyle Hill does a really good job in his podcast breaking it down. And Terrence Howard is the actor, but he does a really good job breaking it down. And I encourage you to watch it. It's fascinating. Anyway, but it's like with your grandfather, with my dad. He's watching all this stuff. He watches Joe Rogan. I don't watch Joe Rogan because he's not a journalist. He's not pushing back on things. He's basically giving a platform to anybody who will pay him enough money, because spoiler alert, that's how podcasts work.
Yeah.
And when you have guests on, they pay you money to promote something. I've paid money to promote books on book podcasts. Not a lot, but you would think that if a podcast needs a guest and you have something to promote, maybe there's I don't know. It like, you would think that the guest would just come on the show.
Yeah.
And they'll be allowed to promote it and whatever. But no, the podcast, the guest has to pay for the promotional thing.
Dang.
And pay for the privilege of being platformed on there. And I'm guessing Terrence Howard probably paid a pretty penny to be on Joe Rogan's podcast. Now, I suppose if you have enough prestige, you can get on a podcast for nothing. And I'm not charging any of my guests anything. If I invite you on, it's because I want you there. It's not because I'm trying to. It's not because you paid for the privilege. Maybe that'll change in the future, but I'm not gonna just put anybody on. If I have if enough people listen to this rambling podcast that I've somehow created, then maybe then there'll be a premium associated with it. But you still, as a podcaster, you have to be responsible and not just platform anybody. Not everybody deserves a platform. Everybody deserves freedom of speech, but not everybody deserves a platform.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate. unfortunately, what the conservative world is, it's people like Joe Rogan and lesser beings, as it were. They just don't. They just put anybody on, and yeah, oh, okay, that sounds good. To bring this back to YouTube, even if you're watching YouTube for educational purposes, for altruistic purposes, for self-improvement, you can get into a bubble with the algorithm where if you watch Joe Rogan's podcast, maybe you'll like this vaccine conspiracy theorist, maybe you'll like this election denier, maybe you'll like this, that's the kind of things that it'll start suggesting to you. Now, as a technology guy, I've been very careful to curate my feed. I'm very skeptical about clicking on other channels, because if you click on too many of the same channels, what happens is it starts suggesting everything that's related to that channel. We just, before we went on air, I watched a Drive Tribe video, and now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of the 12 suggested videos on my YouTube screen. Half of them are car channels. Two of them I subscribe to. One of them I absolutely despise because I won't get into it. I don't want to. I've already said enough controversial stuff on this podcast, but the other guy I respect, and I've watched a couple of his videos, and I've watched a couple of the specials he's done with other people, but I don't subscribe to him, and I don't care about most of his content. He's very talky. He's very entertaining. It's just like, it's like bros hanging out fixing cars, it's like, that's not, I'm not learning anything about that. I'm not learning anything when it comes to that. So the other one of the other ones is a members only video. Now that's early access. I'll see it eventually, but I do want to see it. I'm curious, but I'm not gonna become a member just to watch a video. I'm curious. Does anybody subscribe to YouTube? Used to be called YouTube Red, and now it's, I don't know, whatever. I actually have a family subscription, and you get the benefit of it, so that my YouTube, when I'm watching videos, I don't get ads.
Oh, so like YouTube Premium.
Yep, YouTube Premium. There you go. Thank you.
Yep.
The YouTube Premium, and you get YouTube Music, and you get there's a bunch of you get a lot of benefit from it, but it's like $25 a month for 4 people. Yeah, it's a little, I don't know. It's just barely worth it to me. Trust me, Google's not leaving any money on the table here. Like, it's $25 a month for 4 people. I'm not a fan.
Yeah.
But it does, I'm one of those people that I have no problem letting other people pay for the content that I consume. So if there were YouTube ads, yeah, they'd be annoying, but I'd put up with them if I didn't have to pay a subscription. But as long as other people in the house benefit from it, you and April and
Mom,
then it's just barely worth it.
Just barely.
Just barely worth it. Like I said, Google's not leaving money on the table. I know. I'm not thinking that this is a bargain.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of, I said what I wanted to say last week about YouTube and the creator side of things. It is difficult. You're not gonna make money on YouTube.
Yeah.
And you wanted to do YouTube at one time.
Yeah. I still do.
You still want to do YouTube?
Yep.
Well, look at that. You're doing YouTube right now.
Yeah.
We haven't released this podcast to any of the podcast places. We may do that eventually if we find an audience, or maybe we'll do that to find an audience. I don't know. What was your motivating thing for wanting to do YouTube?
Entertaining people.
Entertaining people?
Yeah. Cause
what was your idea for the channel? For a channel?
Like,
I know you haven't done it yet, but
yeah, like having like some channel to go to if they're in a dark place, because I know I put like out some good like content that builds up their spirits a little bit. Oh. That I put out like content that like makes them feel like a little bit better about themselves sometimes, and I kind of want to be that person for them.
I mean, I watch How Ridiculous to make me feel better about myself, so it's
But like that's not always the case for some people.
yeah.
Yeah.
Different people respond to different things. I started this channel initially to sort of promote my business, but my business is at best regional. It's not something that I can do nationwide. I don't have a store that you can go to buy my products. I mean, I do now that I've got Gigbooks Press. By the way, gigabookspress.com.
Yeah.
That's where you want to go. And there's not a lot there, but there are a few guides that might be interesting. So I don't have a lot of things to promote. I don't have a lot of things to, I did a video where I shot it from a camera. I basically just pointed it at me and started talking, and this is how the camera sounds, this is how the camera looks, this is the resolution it's at, da 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 da. It was sort of a product video. This is the kind of thing that I sell. Nobody watched it.
Dang.
I had 4 views, and that was it.
Which channel was it on?
It was on my main channel. It still is, in fact.
Oh, okay.
You want to see if you want to see me just talking into a camera with an open mic on it, and it's just just to see how it looks and how it sounds and whatnot. You can go visit that video that was seen by 4 people. So
only 4 people.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is if I don't have, and I talked about this last week, I said, if I don't have content that fits in a niche that I can promote on Facebook, my views kind of suck. It's just like I put out that video where I was talking in the car,
Yeah.
and I made fun of people who make videos in a car a little bit. It's like, well, and I still think that. I honestly, it's like, I'm super cool and spontaneous. I'm doing this video in my car. It's like, awesome. Like, why? It sucks. It's really even doing it as a lark, tongue in cheek. It sucked. I hated it. It was like, give me my studio back. Where was I going with that? I don't remember.
I don't know.
Well, you're supposed to be following this stuff.
I am.
You're never going to get rich doing YouTube. I watched a video from it's a channel I don't subscribe to, so I don't remember what the name of it was. But she showed a video that got over 1 million views. 1 million views. Tiny little channel. She does it by herself, kind of like what I do. 1 million views. She got $16.16 for 1 million views.
Dang.
Like, really? And it was a 15-minute video. So there was at least one ad break in it.
Yeah.
Likely. Your content doesn't make that much money.
Yeah.
The content by itself doesn't make that much money. That's why everybody needs a sponsor or 2 sometimes to support the channel and support all of the crew that helped them with it. I don't have an editor. I do everything by myself. You know, you're the first person that's actually doing anything that's helping me.
Yay!
Yay.
Yeah.
You know, so otherwise I've been doing everything on my own, and that's why I went to a once a month shooting schedule for the videos, because I just don't have the time. And especially this year, ever since it warmed up in February, Gigabyte's technology has been just going nuts. It's been going. I've just been busy every single week. I've barely had enough time to do the personal stuff that I'm obligated to do, and then take a little bit of time out to maybe play a video game to just decompress. It's just been crazy. I had to write a quick start guide for a piece of software, just a one page front and back, and it took me 6 months to finally get it done. That shouldn't have taken me 6 months. It really shouldn't have. It was crazy. So yeah, that's the other thing. It's a real time commitment when you're doing YouTube. And when you're young and have all the time in the world, that's great, you know. Or if you have help and you can just send out a guy to go shoot a video, well, that's great too. But when when YouTube isn't your primary job and you're not big enough to earn the sponsorship deals and not big enough to do the monetization, or not, you know, it's when you're a little guy, everything's got to be done by you. I mean, just ask Jamie Morgan.
Yeah.
He does everything on his own too.
Oh, he does?
Yeah.
Damn.
Everything you see, and he does a fantastic job too. I don't know I know what software he's using, and he's using, it's a Windows-based software, which is why I don't use it. So I do everything in Linux, everything.
I don't. I'm the opposite.
Yeah, I know you are.
Yeah.
Like I said the last time, doing YouTube, you know, it costs me a few $100s a video usually, especially if I have a product to review. Like I have, for example, the cheap cell phone review that I did a little while ago. And if you haven't seen that, you can still see it. It's a Nord One Plus or something like that. I can't remember. But it was, I happened to get a new cell phone for one of the children, and I just pulled it out, did a quick review, and did that. Well, technically that phone cost me $160. I mean, granted, it was something I had to buy anyway personally, but just the phone cost me $160. If I wouldn't have done a video, it would have cost me $160. But I did a video. If you add in the labor cost, if you add in the editing cost, if you add in the time involved, you know, it was probably 5 hours in one day, getting everything set up, getting it ready to film, checking the focus, that type of thing. I spent 5 hours of my life shooting this thing, and people liked it and people found it useful, and I'm glad they did. I'm not debating that at all. But once again, I did all that. That's not something I got compensated for. It was just something that I thought people would find interesting and would be fairly easy to do. Well, 5 hours doesn't sound like it's fairly easy now, does it?
No, it doesn't.
As a parent, I think YouTube does a pretty good job of curating content for kids. Especially now.
Yeah.
Because creators can actually check whether it's for kids or not for kids. And none of my content is going to show up on your kid's YouTube, because I don't want it to show up on your kid's YouTube. They're not the target market.
Yeah.
But they've done a good job separating that out. And when you check that it's for kids, there are other checks that YouTube does to make sure that You're not trying to slip in some nefarious content before it gets published. So I think YouTube's done a really good job kind of self-policing there and innovating in that space. I don't know that I don't think it's perfect. Again, like I really don't want my 9-year-old watching shorts all the time.
Yeah.
I want to curate real content, and the issue I've had with you guys is that I've had to go in and find channels that are appropriate. Now you find them on your own. Now you got full-blown YouTube. She's got full-blown YouTube.
Yeah.
But the issue is when left to your own, when children are left to their own devices, they're gonna mindlessly travel down that entertainment path. Ooh, that looks colorful and funny. Ooh, that's a toy on the screen. I'm going to click on that one.
Ooh, that one has Roblox on it.
Yeah,
Ooh, this is
funny looking woman with glasses and whatnot.
Yeah.
Like, if left to their own devices, they're not going to pursue educational things. It's kind of a mindless trek down schlock. The role that a parent needs to play in governing your child's YouTube is, number one, restrict to YouTube Kids until you feel they're age appropriate enough. And there's a lot of ways you can restrict your cell phone. That's a whole nother podcast. If you have an Android phone, you can do a lot of restricting on a kid's cell phone so that they can only watch certain things or whatnot.
And they can't visit certain channels,
right,
like that.
Yeah, you can block channels and you can do that, and you can keep an eye on it. You can even keep an eye on their apps and whatnot. But like I said, that's a whole nother podcast on its own, which I might make a note of. But regardless, so you have to be involved. As a parent, you have to be involved. You have to know what they're watching. And if it's something that you find, I'm not even talking about things that you find objectionable or questionable, or you don't think your child should be watching. I'm just talking about things that, okay, there's nothing wrong with it necessarily, but it's not educational, right? It's not, you're not learning anything. It's not, you're just zoning out to it. And you have, as a parent, you have to go and seek out educational videos that kids might like. Now, what I did, I just searched PBS. And there's all kinds of channels that might be interesting to kids. It's, if they're really young, it's PBS Kids channel, and there's actually an app, and there's all kinds of stuff. So the content's going to be for younger children. But as they get older, there's like PBS Storied.
PBS Eons.
PBS Eons, which is dinosaurs and history.
Yeah.
And it's directed at adults, sort of, but it's in a format that's easily digestible.
I like PBS Eons.
Now, if your child is really smart, like genius level smart, you could go to PBS Space Time, but I don't recommend it for the vast majority of kids, publicly educated kids out there. So it's not that. PBS Space Time is fantastic, but it pushes the limits of my knowledge, which is another podcast we'll get into. And I'm sure it'll be brought up again. But PBS Eons, there's a PBS Storied, Other Words. They learn about origins of words, and there's a lot out there if you get involved a little bit, do a little bit of searching, go to the sites that you know are going to curate content that is not going to be, is going to be something that they're going to learn, and you make sure that it's in their list, they're subscribed to it. And that's what you've got to do. And sometimes you have to go down their list and delete a few things. Because my main list, I've got like 85 different channels. Something like that. What is it? 80, 89? 89? Holy cow. Yeah, I've got a lot.
I got way more.
Yeah, I know you got way more, but that's my point. Like, I think April, she has so many, I couldn't even get through the A's for channels. She subscribes to everything.
Just like how she installs every game.
Yeah, that's the other. That's another podcast. But yeah, you have to kind of go down the list and thin it out, and look at the channels that they're subscribing to, and look at the things that they're being suggested to them. If you unsubscribe, the algorithm will go, oh, well, you don't really want this content anymore. They'll be unsubscribed to it, so it'll help thin it out. The other thing you've got to do as a parent is just watch. You have to keep an eye. You have to sort of guide. Be there to answer questions because the knowledge threshold of a child is very limited, and they're going to run across something that they're not going to understand. And you need to be there. If you need to basically sit down and say to them, look, if you don't understand something, talk to me. If you're confused or scared or frightened by something, talk to me. Remember, I'm Gen X. I grew up before the internet. So, and I'm sure a lot of parents out there, it's the same way. I was scared by a television program. And keep in mind that my television, we were getting off the air channels. We had 5 channels at best. 5 channels.
Only 5?
Only 5.
Dang.
Off the air today, we have 24?
I don't know.
Something like that. I have to check TV again, but we've got 24. So this is going to apply even off the internet, but it is likely that they could find something that frightens or scares them or confuses them, and if it does, they need to talk to you so you can provide context. You can provide guidance as a parent, and you have to make yourself available for that. That's what parenting is. Children are going to find things that are objectionable, that you might find objectionable, that you, through your empathy with your child, you think your child can't handle. If you take the approach that, hey, I got you, I will help you if you don't understand it, or I help you if you're scared. I'll be there to help put some context behind whatever it is you watched. If you will be surprised at what your child can handle. You really will. They are people. Children is people.
Yeah, they are people too.
It's like Soylent Green. They are people.
They is people.
You didn't get that joke, did you?
No.
No, I didn't think so. That's an old reference.
Okay.
But I don't suggest that you eat your children.
What?
But children are people, and they're not fully cooked.
What?
They're not fully baked. They're people. They're going to grow up to be people.
Well, yeah.
So the guidance from parents is very, very, very important. curating the content is very important. Providing context and explaining and telling your child, you know what, I don't like this, what you're watching. I think you should watch, and I would encourage you to watch something else. And here's a neat thing about the internet. You can share stuff. Oh, shocking.
Oh my god.
And I share funny memes over text with my children.
Yes.
I'll share links to videos on those educational channels that I think they might find interesting.
I don't think you've done that with me yet.
A couple of times. You just don't tend to click on the links.
I clicked on the link.
You click on a few.
Bleh.
But the share, you can share, you subscribe to those channels and then share the videos with your children. Hey, this is a new thing that's happening in, on PBS Storied, or
or Storied, or Be Smart, or PBS Eon.
Yeah, Be Smart. Oh, Be Smart is good too. I'm looking at this. Oh, maybe Be Smart is up higher. I'll bet you.
Yeah, it's right there.
Is it? Yeah, there it is. Be
Yeah.
Smart. That was the other one I was trying to think of, and I couldn't think of it before.
There you go. You're welcome.
Maybe at this point we should probably wrap it up. I've gone way over on time. Of course, most of this is going to get edited out to shrink it down so that we can stay topical and not be the meandering, rambling, boring people that I really am. So until next podcast, for me, Mr. Gigabytes, and
Serenity, his sidekick.
his sidekick.
Or whatever.
You're my whatever.
The
The great Gonzo was the whatever. Anyway, we'll see you in the next one.
Yep.